25-year-old Yordano Ventura died in a car crash early Sunday morning in the Dominican. Yesterday, his funeral was held in his hometown of the Dominican Republic in Las Terrenas down there in DR, and it was attended by both current players, former players, as well as his manager, Ned Yost. Really a very tragic story, and as we're getting more information as to how this is unfolding, it's a little bit bizarre, but very sad and devastating news. We have Anthony Castrovince joining us this morning, our MLB.com analyst. First of all, Anthony, thank you so much for being here with us this morning.
No problem, but I was promised no math, so let's stay away from that.
Okay, we can do that for you. So let's discuss Yordano Ventura. His funeral was held Tuesday in the DR, and after seeing the images and hearing the audio, what was your reaction to the funeral service?
Well, it brings it all home. Obviously, it's one thing to have known this young kid and to have watched him pitch, so many times, and to just think about that loss, and then to see it, see the images of his teammates carrying his casket, and obviously it was a great support on their part for a grieving family. I'm sure that meant a great deal to them, just the sheer attendance, and not just Royals players, but players from all around Major League Baseball. David Ortiz was there, former teammates, Edinson Volquez, Johnny Cueto. The list goes on. So it was kind of a who's who of Dominican ball players, and obviously the Royals family. And you just, I don't know what you can say. You just feel for those people who just lost their son, their brother, their countryman, and for the Royals, they lost a teammate, and that was a particularly close-knit group. I really think that, all statistical analysis aside, I really think that their chemistry was something special in 2014 and 2015. And he was a big part of that. They called him Ace Ventura. He was their ace in spirit in a lot of ways, and tremendous potential in that arm of his, that young arm of his, and some serious stretches where he showed it. So it's just a big loss for baseball, a huge loss for the Royals.
Yeah, terrible. And unfortunately, we're seeing this too often here with baseball losing some young stars. Yeah. Impossible to fathom how you even recover from that. You feel for everybody involved in it. What do you think Ventura will be most remembered for? I mean, look, he was an electrifying player, as you said, firing the ball up there, passionate player, fiery competitor. What do you think he'll be most remembered for?
Well, and a lot of people have pointed this, but forcing Game 7 in 2014 with his performance in Game 6 under difficult circumstances, 2 or 3 days after he learned of the death of Oscar Taveras, a good friend of his, and in much similar circumstances, unfortunately. So that was great. That was kind of the realization of his potential. But I think that's the other part of it is we didn't get the full realization of his potential. He's only 25 years old. The Pedro Martinez comparisons, he embraced those. A smaller guy with big stuff and a big heart. And, if Pedro's career had been cut short at this age, we never would have known the great Hall of Famer he became, because it took him a while to figure it out. And it was taking Ventura some time to find that consistency. But, it was all in there. All the potential was in there, and he could have been a great one.
Anthony, I don't know if you can answer this question right now, but maybe as we go forward into the future, how do the Royals move on without their ace?
Yeah, it's so tough, because it was already a team in some kind of transition. They traded Wade Davis, they traded Gerard Dyson. That was just part of this overall emphasis on, getting the payroll back under control. They've got a ton of pending free agents here going into the new season. Eric Hosmer and Mike Moustakas being the most prominent of those, Lorenzo Cain as well. So they're in this tough spot, and Ventura was so key for them as a controllable young starter, again with that serious upside I discussed. And he was counting on big things from himself this year. He said to Dayton Moore, "I'm going to win 18 games, and I'm going to throw 10 complete games this year." He had a lot of confidence in his ability going into 2017. So a huge loss to their rotation. They just extended Danny Duffy, who's another big younger arm for them. But it's just a tough thing for a team already in transition to lose such a young, controllable piece when you've got so many expiring assets as it is. So it's beyond the emotional, which is enough from a pure baseball standpoint. It's obviously a tough blow.
Well, I think that's the biggest thing, the emotional standpoint. I don't think you could ever recover from something like that when you lose a teammate in the fashion that they did.